How's it going? Gamestore here. What do you think about Blackmyth, Wukong? Do you like it? I'm still really into it, and it'll definitely be on my top games of the year. Now let's talk about the top 10 big games from China in the coming years. Number 10 is Faith of Danshant, Hereafter. It's the sequel to Faith of Danshant. Danshant is a French word that means dancing, but this game isn't about actual dancing. We don't know too much about the whole story yet, but it's about a martial arts master fighting monsters to get his daughter back who was taken away. It's being developed in UE4 and will be released on PC and consoles. Hereafter is no longer a turn-based RPG like its predecessor. It's more like an ARPG now. You can run on walls, jump on the tip of the bamboo, and do some combo fights like a real martial arts master. It looks freaking awesome. The gameplay trailer was released by IGN 3 years ago. Man, I really hope this game turns out to be as good as it looks in the trailer. It kinda has that Souls-like vibe, but there was no UI, no health bar, no energy bar, or anything like that in the trailer, so we can't really tell if it's a Souls-like game or not. But I'm definitely looking forward to it. It seems like it'll be a lot of fun. It's been 3 years without any update info though. Let's hope we can get some news about it this year. Number 9. Zhendao Journey of the White Edge. It's a UE5 linear wuxia action RPG and a prequel to a Chinese comic called Zhendao. Based on the last interview with the game producer, he said there are 3 wuxia skill systems for combat. We're not sure about the English names yet. The first system is the basic skills you can use in every battle. Some are for attacking and some for defending. Just like in most ARPGs, players can equip 4 of them. The second system is where you can deal massive damage with the power points right above the health bar. You can restore these points by doing a perfect dodge or parry. The last system is about buffs. He didn't talk much about it, but it basically supports the character. The producer also mentioned that the game was inspired by games like Sifu, Ghost of Tsushima, and Sekiro. You can clearly see that the movement or combat system is kind of like the style of Sifu, which is exactly what the producer loves the most. The game is set to be released in winter 2024 on PlayStation, PC, and Xbox. Number 8. Showa American Story. This game is based on a wild alternative history where Japan, with its super strong economic power, went and bought up most of the US. As the immigration wave kept rolling in, Japanese culture just flooded in, and these two totally different cultures clash like crazy here. There's this unknown action movie actress called Chuzi and her sister who followed the immigration wave and ended up in Hollywood, which has now been renamed Neo Yokohama. But get this, Chuzi got attacked and killed. But then she came back to life and got these special powers to go after revenge. And because of some disaster for reasons no one knows, the whole world order just totally collapsed. Monsters and zombies are running all over the place. Can you even imagine Japanese culture taking over the states like that? The project was originally being developed in UE4, but they made the switch to UE5. That might be a big part of the reason why it hasn't been released yet since they started working on it back in 2018. I'm seriously looking forward to this one. There's still no specific release date, but it's gonna come out on PC, PlayStation 4, and PlayStation 5 when it's finally ready. Number 7 is Daba, Land of Water Scar. This is a Souls-like game that takes its inspiration from Tibetan culture and tells the crazy story of a clay doll that looks like a human. When the world is about to go kaput, this doll goes on a mission to track down the whereabouts of the water fragments in the Guj cities. And while kicking some enemy butt, it finds the answers to the world and itself. That's the lowdown from their official site. As of now, we know there are 2 main characters, and players can switch between them on the fly. Each character can rock 3 weapons at the same time, and a whole bunch of different masks to gain all sorts of diverse abilities for both fighting and exploring the world. It's like you can pull off a double jump with the wind mask, or wear a white mask to do a slick dodge right after a quick attack. There's still no release date yet, but since Daba is part of the PlayStation China Hero program, it's gonna hit the PlayStation 5 for sure. Number 6. Project the Perceiver. Man, there's this frequent parrying going on, along with really sharp iron-beating sound effects, and a dark scene that just gives off this intense sense of loneliness. And there's an energy bar that's pretty much like a posture bar. A whole bunch of elements in this really remind me of Sekiro. The developer is Paper Games. They put out the trailer 2 years ago and did a live stream of the gameplay which looked really solid. But after that, there hasn't been a peep about any news or updates. Supposedly, it's going to be released on PC, PlayStation 5, and mobile platforms. We've got no idea how long it's going to take for it to come out, or even if it will at all. but seriously, the gameplay looks really rad. You play as the Master of 100 Faces, meeting folks with all different life paths, getting to understand their beliefs, and then transforming into masks. Once you slap on a mask, you become that person and get their abilities. And you're living in this open world that's got a real Chinese flavor to it. Let's just keep our fingers crossed that there'll be some updates for this game soon. Number 5. Project Jinyue. Jinyue were like the Imperial Secret Police who served the emperors in the Ming Dynasty of China. Basically, they were like the emperor's bodyguards, so they were carefully selected people with important missions. The story here is about some nobody in the late Ming Dynasty who gets pulled into a conspiracy whirlpool and gradually grows into a Jinyue. This game is chock full of martial arts concepts. It's got a fighting system with all kinds of different weapons, and weapons in different martial arts styles. It might sound a bit complicated, but like the producer said in the gameplay demo, it'll make for more fun when it comes to matching weapons and fighting styles in the later part of the game. After you finish a fight, you can do stuff like jumping on the tips of bamboo, sneaking around on rooftops, and more. You can hide in the shadows and get ready to take out the enemies. Since it's also part of the PlayStation China Hero program, Project Jinyue is going to be released on PS5. Number 4. Wukong Fallen Feathers. This game is built on several chapters of the Chinese mythology classic of mountains and seas, and is adapted in a Cthulhu style. Chinese mythology in a Cthulhu style, that's really something new and pretty darn cool. There's no denying that Wukong is a Souls-like game, just looking at the gameplay trailer that dropped 2 years ago. It takes a whole bunch of inspiration from Dark Souls and Bloodborne, not only in the combat moves but also in the art style. Sekiro fans might notice that the design, from the checkpoints to the menu layout, is super similar. Even though the combat in Wukong Fallen Feathers doesn't seem as fast-paced at first glance, the map level design and move design could use some more work. But hey, looking at the latest trailer, the combat and the moves have improved by a lot. The character moves more smoothly and naturally, and the fighting is even quicker. Based on what the publisher 505 Games said, it'll be coming out in 2025 on PC, PS5, and Xbox, and it'll also be available on day one for Xbox Game Pass. Number 3. Where Winds Meet. That first trailer came out 2 years ago, and it was seriously impressive. It's an open-world action RPG with all kinds of combat mechanics using different weapons. There are some beautiful views and feels like in Ghost of Tsushima, epic boss battles, and you can even fly using certain martial arts styles. Where Winds Meet isn't a completely single-player game or a full-on MMORPG. Just like the developer said, it's a single-player game experience that has a multiplayer mode. You can ask your buddy to join you, but you can also finish the game all by yourself. When the first trailer dropped, they already said it was going to be released on PC, PS5, Android, and iOS. And the latest news for gamers was about how this game is going to charge. It's not a pay-to-win game, and it's not a one-time purchase game either. As the devs put it, they don't make money by selling characters or stats, and there's no gacha system. They only charge for high-quality costumes, so that means you can play and finish this game for free if you don't feel like spending a penny. That's a new thing for the monetization model of a big title, but nobody knows if it's going to work out. Where Winds Meet has done a bunch of tests over the past years, and from Chinese Weibo, the official account replied to a user a few days ago that the game will be released. Or we could say there'll be an open test this year. Number 2. We got Lost Soul Aside. It began as a solo project, and the producer of Lost Soul Aside straight up said he's a big-time fan of Final Fantasy, Ninja Gaiden, Devil May Cry, and a bunch of others. He had this wild dream of making a game that mashes up the art style of Final Fantasy, the combat combos of Ninja Gaiden, and the crazy visual effects of Devil May Cry. And there you have it, Lost Soul Aside. A whole lot of act games that focus on combos have been throwing in a bunch of RPG elements to either make the game easier or attract newbies. And a ton of ACT players have been hankering for that Devil May Cry style combat for a really long time. And this game seems to be right on the money for that, and this game's been in the works ever since it was first shown off back in 2016. Can you believe it's been 8 whole years? And there's still no solid release date in sight. So many games just show players a trailer and then that's it, nothing more. I really don't want Lost Soul Aside to be one of those. By the way, I'm going to make a video about a game that was announced ages ago, and you're still sitting here waiting for it. So subscribe and you won't miss out. Originally, the game was supposed to come out on the PS4, but now it'll be available on PS5 too. Number 1. Here comes the last and most highly anticipated game, Phantom Blade Zero. It was freaking awesome when I first saw this game. The graphics, the music, and the way the character moves, just amazing. The first trailer came out a year ago, and honestly, it looked almost too good to be true. But after the demo playthroughs in Los Angeles, Shanghai, and Cologne, there are loads of gameplay videos on YouTube. And yup, it's not some CGI stuff or anything like that, it's definitely a real game. Based on the info we have now, the player gets to play as an elite assassin from one of the organizations. He gets wrongly accused of killing the leader of the organization and is then hunted down by the whole lot. And because he was seriously injured in a previous battle and received a mysterious treatment, he only has 66 days left to live. Real martial arts masters captured all the motions, and that's likely why the animations are so natural and smooth. The producer did mention that he likes Souls games, but only regarding the level design. He's not really into the combat style of Souls games. So the fighting style in Phantom Blade Zero is a blend of Sekiro and Ninja Gaiden, including enemy-breaking stances, blue flash attacks, which you can parry, and red flash attacks, which you have to dodge. The game is being developed in Unreal Engine 5, supports 60 FPS, has multiple weapons, and allows for weapon switching during combos. It's said to be released on PC and PlayStation 5 either in the fall of 2026 or early 2027. Thank you so much for going through these games with me. Comment below and let me know which one are you expecting the most. And see you next time.